Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today it is my good fortune to be interviewing Craig Ballantyne, owner of earlytorise.com and purveyor of some other awesomeness that has benefited my life that I can't wait to share with you later in the interview. Craig, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, happy to help, man. This is really going to be a fun interview. Thanks so much, Seth.
My pleasure. For our listeners who might have been living under a rock and who don't know what Early to Rise is, talk a little bit about that.
So Early to Rise was created back in 2000 by my mentor, and he wrote thousands of essays for the website, and then he sold the business to me in 2011 after dominating it for a decade. And then what we do is we help people become wealthier, improve their health, become smarter and wiser, publish great content from people like you, Seth, and really show entrepreneurs and executives how to become high performers at the next level and achieve extraordinary results in every area of their life.
That is absolutely incredible, and I have been a decade plus, long subscriber, so I greatly appreciate the amazing content that you're putting out. How did you get started? I know you didn't start out in the ETR niche.
No, I did not. I started out in the workout world of all places. I like to say I was Canada's Tony Horton. So, we were up here making workout videos, and I've been writing for Men's Health magazine since 2000 and helping people in that world. And I created this program called Turbulence training, follow along videos, all that good stuff. But in about 2006, I hired my first business coach, and he got me thinking, Craig, what do you want your business to look like in 5 years from now? And I said, Tom, I would love to have a business like Early to Rise. And he knew what it was, and we both agreed it was great business. And then he went on to help me launch my fitness business. And so I spent the next 5 years focusing on that. And then I got an opportunity to take over Early to Rise. So I was slowly moving in that direction by becoming a better coach and speaker and writer, doing all the things I needed to do in order to earn the opportunity to get the ability to acquire Early to Rise.
That is, I know the longer version. If it hasn't filled a book already, probably should.
Yeah.
But that is an absolutely incredible story. So what do you wish, other than taking over ETR, what do you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
When I started ETR, when I started all of this stuff?
Let's go back to let's do it both ways. Let's go back to the beginning first.
Definitely, I wish I would have named my fitness product better than Turbulence training. Name it with a benefit to the end user rather than spending the next 10 years running your head through a wall trying to explain it to people. But fortunately, I was a fast mover in the online world, and I didn't have to work as hard as I would have to these days. Second was get a coach sooner. I waited until 2006 to get my first coach, and I could have afforded one back in 2003, and I think that would have given me exponential results compared to where I am now. So I wish I would have done that. But really, it's about that differentiation that we talked about, being able to explain a big idea down to people on a simple term. And so a really great example of that is Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. Contrarian, specific, and articulated in just a few words. And that's one of the reasons why it's become so popular. And so that's really, a few of the lessons that I wanted to share with people to really they can take and apply to their business right now.
Absolutely. Great lessons. What do you think what were some of the biggest takeaways you had from working with your first coach that had such a big impact on your business?
There's definitely there's a right way to do things. And, you don't go out there and reinvent the wheel. He helped me set my website up better so the sales copy was good, and so that there wasn't 19 different buttons on the page that people could click on and leave. Just when you're driving people to a website, you have to have one end goal for the user in mind. And for ours, it was get them to read the sales page and buy. If that didn't work, then get them to opt in, but not, read the about us and, read the case studies and all this stuff. No, just about the sales page. And so that was one of the things he really helped me with. And that way I was able to have a big product launch. And really it comes down to, here are the things that work. It's been proven time and time again in marketing. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Make sure that what you're doing right now works, and then you can start to tweak things in the future as long as you're testing and tracking.
Absolutely. You've had such immense success, first in TT and then in ETR, and now what you're doing since then. What's your biggest challenge now?
I would say my biggest challenge now is figuring out how to take a bit of an abstract idea, which is a perfect day formula, and make sure that everyone out there who doesn't know of me can understand the benefits of it. So, it's going back to that big idea formula that I mentioned before. I just have to get the right phrasing for it. I have to get the right video and the right message and audience for it. And once I get in front of that, we'll go from like linear improvement to exponential hockey stick improvement. So it's just tweaking the message a little bit, but we're almost there. And one of the things we have done really well is an ascension coaching model, which I've got lots of people coming in. We're doing workshops and we're doing high-end coaching. And so we have the entire system and funnel in place for the products. We just have to get that sales message right.
Absolutely. Now you have overcome, it hasn't just been a straight meteoric growth rise line. You've overcome some significant adversity along the way, which inspired Perfect Day Formula. Would you be willing to share a little bit about that and how Perfect Day came about?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do that. And I mean, adversity, I suppose, is a relative thing. Mine it was tough for me, but maybe a little bit less than what some other people go through. But back in 2006, very pivotal year, I hired my business coach. And just before I hired him, or right around the same time, actually, I started suffering from these anxiety attacks, very crippling anxiety attacks. I felt like I was having a heart attack all day long for 6 weeks straight, tingling from the top of my head down to the end of my fingertips and tight chest, couldn't breathe, all this nasty stuff that I hope nobody goes through, but 5% of the population does. And so if 1,000 people are listening today, that means 50 people out there are dealing with it. So I just wanted them to know I know what they're going through and there is a way out of it. And so what I did was I tried everything I possibly could. I tried yoga, meditation, qigong, all of this stuff. I cleaned up my act a little bit, started sleeping a little bit more, working a little bit less, because most entrepreneurs, they go from a 9 to 5 and they end up working a 5 to 9, and that can really get you in trouble. So I needed to improve that. Hired my instructors of yoga and qigong, got their accountability, learned how to breathe better, which most people don't know how to do. Had positive social support, so I was able to ask my friends around me how I could overcome this. I had a meaningful incentive to change, which was to get rid of the anxiety because it's so difficult to deal with. And then I had a big deadline of a product launch coming up in the summer, and I knew that was going to cause me a lot of anxiety. So I wanted to make sure that I was through my unnatural anxiety attacks so that I was able to be better prepared for my natural anxiety of the product launch. And so those 5 things that I did, I call them the 5 pillars of success: better planning and preparation, professional accountability, positive social support, a meaningful incentive, and then the big deadline. When you put those 5 things into place, you can lose weight, get rich, get out of debt, whatever it is that you need to change in your life. Just put those 5 things in place and you'll have amazing success.
That is incredibly helpful and an amazing journey. And now you have an empowering meaning that not only did it help you, but you're now helping others. How did you invent out of that desperation, invent the Perfect Day Formula box and program, and how did that evolve to the behemoth it is today?
Right. So in 2006, when I finished getting through that, I realized, holy cow, I need more structure in my life in order to win true freedom. Because the problem before that was I had too much freedom. I was able to do whatever I want, whenever I wanted. And so from that time on, for the next almost 10 years, I started building these systems. And then I started taking these systems and coaching other people on them, other entrepreneurs, so that they could shut down their computer at 4 o'clock and be present with their families at night. And so I built that over time, wrote a book called The Perfect Day Formula that we published in 2015. And then in a conversation with Dan Kennedy, we had this challenging question from Dan, which was, okay, you've got a book, big deal. How are you going to stand out? And my business partner, Matt Smith, thought, hey, why don't we take out the really important parts? They're still in the book, that is, but take them out and expand on them and put together some real success tools that we can give people in this kit formula, as well as a gratitude journal and as well as a goal-setting poster and all of these things to really take the basic foundation of the Perfect Day Formula and 10x it in terms of like the coaching experience that people will have with the Perfect Day Formula. When it shows up on their doorstep, it's this giant orange box full of goodies. And it's like, virtually having me sitting down at the kitchen table, coaching them through creating the vision for their life, creating the rules for their life, and implementing those 5 pillars of success so that they can achieve faster results.
That is absolutely awesome, and obviously has had a significant impact on the marketplace. What are your goals for Perfect Day Formula?
So the Perfect Day Formula, I'd love to sell over 100,000 books and 25,000 kits before 2020 and get at least 40 one-on-one or small coaching events per year. So 40 of those, and we do 5 people at a time in our small group workshops. And then from there, I want to start finding other coaches to expand the small group workshops, almost like a Tony Robbins type of.
We get certified and become a PDF coach, and then we host events in our area. Love it.
Absolutely. Because obviously you're limited by the number of days you have to do the events, and we can't expand them beyond 5 or 6 people because they're really intense and intimate, and there's a lot of sharing between the individuals, and you lose that when you get up to about 10 people. So we have to keep them small, and that way I know that the great thing is I can do a good job of it, but I know that there's other coaches out there who can do an even better job of it and, bring that information out of people in this giant self-discovery deep dive that we do in those events. And then from there, those people, those high-end entrepreneurs and executives go back and they 10X their business, and we have that ripple effect around the world just of making everybody better.
That is absolutely awesome. Love the vision. Happy to be a client. Love to be a part of the growth. What drives you crazy about your business?
My managerial skills. I'm not great at it. I'm getting better, but I'm realizing that if I want to be a great leader, I have to be super positive, high energy in every interaction with clients. I'll give credit to a guy named Keith Lee, who's from the Dan Kennedy world. He has a pretty good little book. I can't remember the name of it now. How to something about have a better business and live a better life. But he has some really good ideas in there and really good information about situational leadership, which is something from Ken Blanchard, I think. And that's the best way to coach your employees. It's not something you get overnight, and I'm working on getting better at it. So if I can get better at that, I can coach my employees better, and our team is going to take more responsibility and go on and really drive things. So it's all about me becoming better to help my team members become better drivers of the business. And we've actually had some pretty cool breakthroughs recently. Are you familiar with James Altucher's 10 Big Ideas method?
I am. And a full disclosure, not only am I a client of James, I am also a client of Keith Lee's. We're currently implementing his management system now.
Great.
We just had our first team-wide customer service meeting with the DVD and the training, and went absolutely incredible. I mean, my team came up with, I think, 9 awesome ideas on improving our business. So I am a huge fan of Keith's and really excited to grow up as a leader and have actual systems in place. So
there you go, man. There you go. So James Altucher has this, 10 big ideas thing. And then one of my business partners, Jeff Schneider, he runs a different business called Royalty Exchange, but they started implementing a team 10 big ideas every Friday, about 10 big ideas for the business, similar to what your team came up with the 9 ideas. And so we just started implementing that. And right before this call, we had our best session ever where people were coming in with 12 or 15 ideas. Everyone's supposed to come in with 10, but they were stepping up to the next level, coming in with
those overachievers.
Yeah, it's awesome. 12 or 15 ideas, really taking ownership of it. And I mean, we just came up with some stuff that is really going to be helpful for the Perfect Day Formula, for the new website we're building and the community we're going to build and all this great stuff. So that idea combined with some of the stuff that we're doing that I'm learning from Keith is very helpful. So I'm going to look deeper into Keith's program because if you're a raving fan of it, then I think I should be too.
Yeah, absolutely. We are huge fans. Now, you talked about revamping the website. You talked about the growth of PDF. Let's talk a little bit. You've agreed graciously to make an amazing offer to our listeners and viewers. Talk a little bit about what they get and where they go to get it.
Right. So I would love to give people a free copy of my book, The Perfect Day Formula. So just go to freeperfectdaybook.com. It's free. We just ask you to pay shipping and handling, just a couple bucks for that, and we'll send it to you anywhere in the world. And then you can go through that and implement all the systems that I've built over the last 10 years to get that foundation in place to have perfect days.
And it's freeperfectdaybook.com?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, we will make sure everyone gets there. Speaking of books, I know you are a voracious learner. What are 3 of the best books you've ever read that have had the biggest impact on your career?
Okay, so the first one is The Secret of the Rockefeller Habits by Vern Harnish. So that's really great. We do the quarterly planning that he recommends in there.
Have you read Scaling Up?
Yeah. What's that?
Have you read Scaling Up, the next one?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great one too. And then we've actually gone to one of Vern's seminars for the Rockefeller Habits, but I haven't gone to a Scaling Up seminar yet. And then the second book I was going to say is Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson, who is Mark Ford, the creator of Early to Rise. So he wrote all of his essays and his books under a pen name, Michael Masterson, but his real name is Mark Ford. So it gets very confusing, but Ready, Fire, Aim is definitely the best book for small businesses, really focuses on selling in there. And then I guess the third one, it's not necessarily a business book, but I always recommend this book to people, is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. It really just showed me, hey, listen, your adversity is nothing compared to what other people went through. Here's how to, survive through it. And so it reminds me that I can do a lot more mentally, but it also reminds me I can do a lot more physically. So as a workout junkie, I kind of take it as a bit of an inspiration to go out and train harder and not complain and really, do all that stuff, but also step up in my business. And then just as a bonus one, I'm reading right now as a recommendation from Dan Kennedy, the book called Simply Rich. It's the biography of Rich DeVos.
Yes, from Amway. Yep, great book.
What a story. I mean, what they were able to do in the 1940s and 50s before all this government regulation came along, starting an airline overnight, basically, before there was even an airport in their town. It was just amazing. And it's really awesome to hear the hustle behind the story, the partnership, all the great things that they've done. And I'm not anybody who's spent any time in Amway, so just to learn about the backstory has been really helpful. But just to show, the American enterprise spirit, I think it's still alive and well. And so hopefully people who need some inspiration, go and read that book. It's a fun read.
Yeah, absolute great recommendations. Great book. Yours obviously should be on that list as well. And our folks will get a copy of it for free at freeperfectdaybook.com. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. Immense amount of value. I know your time is incredibly valuable. What is the last thing you'd like to leave our listeners and viewers with, or what didn't I ask you that you want to share?
I always love to tell people that even though we're working hard, we're entrepreneurs, we're executives, we're building businesses, we're making money, at the end of the day, what really matters are people and experiences. So people always ask me what one of my hobbies is or whatever. And I always say that my hobby is collecting interesting people. So I love to meet interesting people. And so, this year you and I met, and you've introduced me to 10 new interesting people, and it's so exponential. And this year alone, I've probably doubled my network through doing podcasts and mastermind groups. So I just think that it's more important for us to focus on people and experiences. Those are the things we're going to remember in 20 years from now, 50 years from now in our rocking chairs. And don't get too focused on money and stuff. It's helpful, but it's all about the people and experiences.
All right. Awesome interview. Thank you so much. Craig Ballantyne, Early to Rise, and freeperfectdaybook.com. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for listening or watching, and we'll talk to you next time.